Hello and welcome to Daily Prelims Practice. Here we are going to take up the MCQs based on today's newspaper of The Hindu and Indian Express, which are important from UPSC Prelims exam perspective. The topics for today's discussion are listed on your screen. So let us start the discussion.
Our first question is based on this particular news which has appeared on the page number 12 in The Hindu. It basically talks about the relocation of an elephant which is named PM2 to the Mudumulai Tiger Reserve, and it also exhibited positive behavioral changes. The context of this news is not very important from our exam perspective as far as tree is concerned. However, you must be aware that biodiversity and conservation of biodiversity is an important theme in UPSC Prelims exam. As biodiversity is specifically mentioned in the Prelims exam syllabus, you must be aware about India's biodiversity and the conservation measures which are being implemented by union and state governments. Before solving the practice MCQ, have a look at this question which has appeared in the year 2020. In this question, you have to identify the tiger reserve which has the largest area under critical tiger habitat. Just try your hand on this. We have designed one practice MCQ based on tiger reserves. In this, you are being given 4 options and you need to identify how many pairs are correctly matched. The first option says Mudumulai Tiger Reserve is based in Tamil Nadu. It is a correct statement as Mudumulai Tiger Reserve is situated in Tamil Nadu. The second option says Palamau Tiger Reserve is based in Odisha. It is an incorrect statement as Palamau Tiger Reserve is based in Jharkhand and not in Odisha. The third option says Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve is based in Madhya Pradesh. It is again a correct option. The last option says Ranipur Tiger Reserve is based in Rajasthan. If you are following the newspapers regularly, you must be aware that Ranipur Tiger Reserve is the 53rd Tiger Reserve of India and it is located in Uttar Pradesh and not in Rajasthan. So this option becomes incorrect. And you have to identify the correct pairs. Only 2 pairs are correct and the answer to this question becomes B. The answer to the previous year question is C, which is Nagarjun Sri Salem Tiger Reserve and it is situated in Andhra Pradesh. The Corbett Tiger Reserve is based in Uttarakhand, Ranthambore is in Rajasthan, Sundarbans in West Bengal. Whenever you come across such news articles which are directly or indirectly associated with tiger reserves, biosphere reserves, just try to keep a tab on such news and you can follow the government websites for accurate information. As you can see, Envis Network is a portal hosted by Wildlife Institute of India. In this, you can easily find the tiger reserves, elephant reserves, biosphere reserves and Ramsar sites. Always try to look for the information from government websites. The next question of today's discussion is based on this news which has appeared on page number 5 in The Hindu. It talks about the recently elected chairman of Karnataka Legislative Council, Mr. Baswaraj Horati, as political system of India is an important theme in the polity section of UPSC Prelims exam. So this area becomes important for our discussion. As you can see, UPSC has directly mentioned the political system in the polity section of Prelims exam syllabus. And in the year 2018, UPSC has specifically asked a question on Legislative Assembly. In this question, you have to identify the correct statements out of the given 2 statements. The practice question which we have framed on Legislative Council says, with reference to Legislative Council, which of the following statements are correct? The first statement says, the Constitution has fixed maximum and minimum limits, but the actual strength of council is fixed by the state legislature. It is an incorrect statement. The actual strength of council is fixed by the parliament and not by the state legislature. You must be aware about this particular fact. The second statement says, governor can nominate the members to the council amongst the person who has special knowledge or practical experience of literature, science, art, cooperative movement and social service. It is a correct statement as governor is entitled to nominate 1/6 of the members to the legislative council of the states. So this statement becomes correct and the answer to this question becomes B, which is 2 only. And answer to the previous year question is A, which is 1 only. And the second statement is incorrect. Moving on to the next question, which is based on this news article of The Hindu. It basically talks about the higher cost of cancer treatment among the Indian patients. And Rajya Sabha Standing Committee has raised the concerns of high cost of cancer treatment and has requested the government to invoke the Section 100 of Patents Act. As UPSC has previously asked many questions on diseases, patents and medicines. So we must be aware about the diseases which are prevalent in India and nitty-gritties of Patents Act. As you can see in the year 2019, UPSC has asked a question on India's Patents Act. In this, you are being given 3 statements and out of these 3, you have to identify the correct statements. On the similar lines, we have designed one practice MCQ and it says, consider the following statements. In this question, you have to identify the correct statements. The first statement says, Cancer Patient Fund within Rashtriya Arogya Nidhi provides financial assistance up to 2 lakh to cancer patients. The second statement says, Patents Act 1970 can be invoked by Government of India to authorize any entity to use a patented cancer drug without the authorization of patent holder. Out of these two statements, you have to identify the correct statements. The first statement is correct, as the Cancer Patient Fund under the Rashtriya Arogya Nidhi has been set up in 2009 to provide a financial assistance up to 2 lakh rupees to the cancer patients. Further, if an individual requires assistance of more than 2 lakh rupees, the request can be sent to the ministry for its processing. Hence, this statement becomes correct. The second statement is also correct, as to provide the cancer medicines at affordable price to the patients, government has two provisions. One, by granting the compulsory licensing under the section 84 and 92 of Patents Act, and alternatively, government can also authorize any entity to use the patented drug without authorization of patent holder under the section 100 of Patents Act. So both the statements are correct and the answer to this question becomes C, which is both 1 and 2. And the answer to the previous year question is also C, which is 3 only. The next question of today's discussion is based on this news, which has appeared on page number 1 in The Hindu. It basically talks about the DOKRA art form, which is famous in Eastern India. And it is recently in news because a village called Lal Bazar has become the hub for this particular art form. UPSC has previously asked many questions on art forms such as traditional crafts and embroidery. As you can see in the year 2018, UPSC has asked this question. In this, you are being given 3 pairs and you have to identify the correct pairs. Here we have framed one practice MCQ on DOKRA art and it says, consider the following statements. The first statement says, DOKRA is a famous traditional thick rug made out of cotton. The second statement says, DOKRA craft of West Bengal has been granted GI tag. The first statement is incorrect, as DOKRA is an art of sculpture making and it uses the wax casting technique and it is also known as lost wax process. Further, DOKRA is an alloy of brass, nickel and zinc. So the first statement becomes incorrect. The second statement is correct, as DOKRA art has been granted the GI tag in 2018 and the art form took its name from the tribe which is famous for crafting the DOKRA sculptures, and it is known as DOKRA Damar tribe of West Bengal and Odisha. So the answer to this question becomes B, which is 2 only. And the answer to the previous year question is A, which is 1 only, as Sujni embroidery is a heritage of Bihar and Jamdani saris are heritage of Andhra Pradesh. Do remember this fact that DOKRA is a metal craft and not a fabric art form. Moving on to the next question, which is based on this news, which has appeared on the page number 17 in Indian Express. It basically talks about the suspension of derivative trade in agri commodities. You must be aware that SEBI is empowered to regulate the derivatives trading, as SEBI is an important institutional body which regulates the commodity exchange in India, as UPSC has previously asked many questions on derivatives, bonds and commodity exchanges. So this area becomes important for our discussion. Before solving the practice MCQ, have a look at this question. In this, UPSC has asked, in India, the markets in agriculture products are regulated under. You are being given 4 options and you need to identify the correct one. You can pause this video and try to solve this question. Now, the practice MCQ says, consider the following statements regarding derivative markets in India. The first statement says, traders, rather than taking physical delivery of commodities, elect to trade in futures market. It is a correct statement, as in commodities exchange, the traders are allowed to trade in futures market. The second statement says, foreign portfolio investors, which are also known as FPIs, are not allowed to participate in commodity derivatives. It is an incorrect statement, as SEBI has allowed FPIs to participate in the commodity derivatives with certain conditions. Further, you must be aware that Forward Market Commission used to regulate the commodity markets till 2015, and after that it was merged with SEBI. So the answer to this question becomes A, as the statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is incorrect. And the answer to the previous year question is B, which is the Agricultural Produce Market Committee Act enacted by the states. It is also known as APMC Act. The last question of today's discussion is based on this news, which has appeared on page number 14 in The Hindu. It basically talks about the stabilization fund which India is planning to set up to push the carbon markets in the country. The fund will ensure that the carbon market remains attractive for the investors, and it further boosts India's effort to cut down its carbon emissions. As carbon market is an important theme in the environment section of our UPSC Prelims exam syllabus, this area becomes important for our discussion, and you must be aware about the key facts regarding carbon market. As you can see, in the year 2021, UPSC has asked about common carbon metric. In this, you have to identify the correct option out of the given 4 options. And we have designed one practice MCQ on carbon markets, and it says, consider the following statements, and out of these 2 statements, you have to identify the correct statements. The first statement says, carbon markets establish trading systems where carbon credits or allowances can be bought and sold. The second statement says, carbon trading started formally in the Paris Agreement under UNFCCC. The first statement is correct, as carbon markets are essentially a tool for putting a price on carbon emissions, and it establishes a trading system where countries can buy carbon credits or allowances and can also sell them. So this statement becomes correct. And the second statement is incorrect, as the carbon trading has been started under United Nations Kyoto Protocol in 1997. So this statement becomes incorrect. And the answer to this question becomes A, which is 1 only. Further, you must be aware that Article 6 of Paris Agreement provides for the use of international carbon markets for countries to fulfill their nationally determined contribution target. Try to remember this, as it can be directly asked in UPSC Prelims exam. And the answer to the previous year question is also A, as the common carbon metric is developed for assessing the carbon footprint of building operations around the world. Hence, the answer to this question becomes A.